In the seemingly serene suburb of Newtown, Geelong, a veil of normalcy concealed a ghastly secret that would horrify the nation. This is the harrowing tale of Maree, a once career-driven woman whose life descended into the abyss alongside the decomposing body of her brother, Robert, hidden away from the world for up to 5 excruciating years. The revelation of their living conditions exposes a chilling narrative of neglect, decay, and a profound detachment from reality. Maree, formerly recognised for her ambition and professionalism, found herself ensnared in a living horror story. Her home transformed into a literal house of horrors. It was a place where death lingered in the air, permeating every corner with the foul stench of decay. The once habitable space had devolved into a domain of despair, overrun with vermin and cluttered with refuse that spoke volumes of a life unravelling at the seams. The police, alerted to her residence under seemingly mundane circumstances, were utterly unprepared for the horror that awaited them. Forced entry through a shattered glass panel was just the beginning of a grotesque discovery. The police, immediately hit with the horrifying sight of the interior and the morbid stench of decay, were forced to adorn themselves with biohazard suits before venturing into the unknown. They navigated through a mire of floor-to-ceiling rubbish, their senses assaulted by the pervasive odour of death. Rats scuttled through the filth, dead possums lay decomposing throughout the house, and even large amounts of human feces were found, smeared across the floor. Then, amidst the chaos, they uncovered the skeletal remains of Robert Rudolph Natoli, Maree's brother, who had vanished from sight and mind since 2017. The scene that greeted the first responders was one of unmitigated horror. Robert's remains, a ghastly spectre of what once was, lay entombed in the filth of their shared dwelling. The decomposition was so advanced that Robert must have been dead for years. Maree, in a testament to her fractured psyche, had disturbingly crafted a makeshift nest among the squalor near to Robert's body, out of bedsheets that she would regularly sleep in. This discovery led to the grim, unsettling conclusion that Maree had been living with her dead brother's corpse for up to 5 years. The psychological decay that precipitated this grim outcome mirrors the physical degradation of their living space. Raised in a strict Roman Catholic household, Maree and Robert's early life bore no hint of the tragedy that would later unfold. The death of their beloved grandparents marked the genesis of Maree's descent into mental turmoil, with obsessive-compulsive disorder gripping her in relentless tendrils, dragging her into the abyss. This was a significant turning point for Maree, who, until then, had been a career-driven individual, climbing the ranks to become an administrator at a retailer. Her condition began to manifest more severely after this loss, exacerbated perhaps by the lack of a personal support system, as she had never married nor had children, focusing instead on her career and familial responsibilities. As the years wore on, the siblings' situation further deteriorated. They moved into a public housing dwelling on Russell Street, Newtown, where the initial signs of their reclusion became evident. Maree left her job, further isolating herself from the outside world. Despite this, she attempted to maintain a semblance of normality and contribution to society by engaging in neighbourhood cleanup activities, perhaps as a way to cope with her growing compulsions and the increasing clutter of their home. This outward attempt to connect with her community belied the chaos that was taking over their lives inside the house. Maree and Robert lived without basic utilities such as electricity for parts of their lives together, a stark testament to their descent into further isolation and neglect. The final chapter of this descent came to light only after Robert's death went unnoticed for up to 5 years, his decaying body lying amidst the rubble of their hoarded possessions. Maree's mental health issues, now compounded with a detachment disorder, allowed her to live in denial of her brother's death, maintaining the exterior of their home meticulously, while the interior decayed, mirroring the tragic collapse of her psychological state. This bizarre juxtaposition of external normalcy against internal chaos and decay came to a shocking revelation when police, responding to an unrelated matter, discovered Robert's remains, unveiling a story of profound tragedy, isolation, and neglect that had been hidden in plain sight. Neighbours described her as somewhat of a clean freak, regularly seen meticulously cutting the lawn with scissors, which again starkly contrasted the inner turmoil and neglect found within the home. This attention to the exterior facade, perhaps a vestige of her earlier life's order and discipline, ironically veiled the dire conditions inside, leaving the community unaware of the extent of the tragedy until it was too late. The interior of the house, a labyrinth of chaos, was crammed with hoarded items that told a story of years spent in seclusion. Among the refuse, rats scurried, indifferent to the human tragedy that unfolded around them. Dead possums added to the macabre tableau, their bodies decomposing in silent accord with Robert's. The infestation of maggots, feasting upon the decay and filth, created a scene so horrific it seemed ripped from the darkest of nightmares. The discovery of Robert's body, reduced to skeletal remains, was a silent witness to the years of suffering that had transpired within these walls. Not seen since 2017, his existence had faded from memory, leaving behind only the haunting evidence of his demise. The state of his body, intermingled with the filth of their living conditions, was a testament to the severity of Maree's mental health crisis and her complete detachment from the reality of their situation. The horror of the scene was not lost on the law enforcement officials who navigated this nightmare. Their reactions, a mixture of shock and disbelief, underscored the unimaginable conditions they encountered. It was a discovery that would haunt them to this day, a stark reminder of the depths to which humanity can descend when left in the grip of severe mental illness and isolation. As the story of the Natoli siblings unraveled, the neighbourhood struggled to reconcile the Maree they thought they knew with the reality of her existence. Maree, who had once been an active member of the community, had become a ghost, her life shrouded in mystery and sorrow. The meticulous care she took in maintaining the exterior of her home stood in jarring opposition to the decay within. In the aftermath of the revelation, questions lingered. How could such horror persist unnoticed in a neighbourhood known for its tranquility? What signs were missed in the years leading up to the discovery? Maree's eventual fate, her life, unravelled to the point of cohabiting with the corpse of her brother, starkly illustrates the tragic end of a long, complex journey marred by mental illness and isolation. After the grim discovery, authorities released Maree to the care of Geelong Hospital, a move that momentarily placed her on the streets upon her discharge, as she found herself unable to return to her home. The house, once a sanctuary despite its dire conditions, was sealed off by police, rendering her homeless. This abrupt and callous displacement further exacerbated her already precarious mental and emotional state. However, in a twist of compassion amidst the tragedy, a neighbour, Belinda Holt, stepped in to offer Maree temporary shelter. Holt's kindness provided Maree with a semblance of stability as she recounted tales of her past and watched fireworks on TV, moments of normalcy that stood in sharp contrast to her recent lived experiences. The House of Horrors in Newtown, Geelong, thus stands as a macabre monument, not just to the tragedy of Maree and Robert, but to the broader horrors of neglect, isolation, and the failure of society to protect its most vulnerable members. It compels us to confront uncomfortable truths about the limits of our observation, the depths of human suffering, and the essential need for compassion and intervention in the face of mental health crisis. So that's it for today's bizarre story. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and if you enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.